Words can create worlds. What makes for good writing? We'll find out today on Into the Words. Welcome to Into the Words. I'm your host, Mr. McGrath, and we have a story today, a wackadoodle story from Keating, titled The Making of a King. At the time and place this story happens, it was a frigid winter evening near a castle on a mountain covered in pine trees in the middle of somewhere. In a valley where several streams joined into a river, the smell of wood smoke rose with the sound of crickets. Oh, it happened to be in medieval times, by the way, so imagine everyone wearing medieval garb, no one having cell phones or watches, and everyone dying young from the plague after the barber applying leeches to drain their blood only made things worse. Thanks. John was walking home from school to where he lived with his mom and dad. He had blonde hair that he could flip coyly if he wanted, which he did whenever Mary Wheelwright happened to look his way during morning prayers. John was walking with his best friends, Martha and Will. Martha was honest on the toilet, but only on the toilet. All their moms and dads sat on their fat, lazy behinds all day and complained about how they worked so hard to help the community while others sat on their fat, lazy behinds. As they neared the small village where they lived, all three realized that there was one knight from an opposing kingdom running towards them with a gleaming sword. Martha screamed and yelled, "Stay away from me, you brigand!" She paused to think about what to say next. She yelled, "Yeah, stop where you are right this moment!" John exclaimed, "Hey, who are these dudes?" Looking at the spear, John realized he didn't need his question answered right away and decided to run for the woods. Meanwhile, John's friends were not faring well. Will had tripped and fallen. Martha had climbed a tree, and Evil Knight number 1 was about to burn the tree down with a torch he happened to be carrying. Evil Knights numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5 through 2562. It would have been 2564, but Neil and Garmadon were playing knights that day, came out of the trees. Martha jumped out of the tree and landed in a snowdrift. She tried to play around in the snowdrift, but John booted her out and shrilly pronounced, "Come on, Martha, we have to run or we'll have to die." The friends ran downhill away from the evil knights. When they had just crested a small hill, they almost ran into a stampede of knights on horseback, who were about to accidentally run them through with their spears. These knights, let's call them the good knights, apparently were chasing the bad guys that were over yonder. The friends turned back around but were halted by the evil knights, so they just dropped to the ground and hoped they didn't get run over by the good knights or the evil knights, though at this point it's hard to say who is evil or good since it's all chaos and murder. John stood up and then hunched over and pretended to be a holly bush because he was wearing dark green and red. "I am a holly bush," John thought over and over. "A holly bush with pretty red berries." With a sound like 1,000 guillotines chopping down on 1,000 necks, the good knights crashed into the evil knights. Nearer to the beginning of the battle, the friends were interested, but then they kept on seeing the same things happening. You know, a spear through the throat, an arrow in the eye, an arm lopped off, and they grew bored. For a couple of tedious hours, the friends waited for it to be over. "Rather a long battle, isn't it?" Martha said, for once being honest off the toilet. As John sat there pretending to be a bush, the leader of the evil knights tripped over him, suffered a head trauma, and died. The long hours of bloodshed came to a screeching halt with the death of their leader. The good knights praised John and made him king, because they had seen him kill the leader of the evil knights. They led him to their castle and kinged him. Everyone lived not so happily ever after. Martha and Will were very envious of John, and John ordered them about a lot while not being nice. So most of these people in this story live pretty terribly ever after. Sorry. The end. As if! That is most definitely not the end. There is totally more story. Yay! More story. Story for me, story for you, even some story in our shoe. Also some story for our crew. The story will continue in just a moment. If you wait one more moment, you will get more story. Yay! Please stay in your seats until we begin again. We would love some more story. Just a little longer and you will get more story. Come on, let's hear you yell for more story. More story, more story, more story. Whoops, I ran out of space. See you all later. Goodbye. The end. Finally. Well, believe it or not, there actually is a continuation to that, but you see what you can do in your fictional narrative. Just go totally wackadoodle. And I tell you, Keating here is not even, I don't think, familiar with the work of Monty Python, and yet, boy, does he have it down. Well, I hope you learned something about composing a fabulous and funny fictional narrative, and let's see what we will learn next time when, once again, we venture into the words.